Hello, BookTube. I have a mail haul, and it ends in not one box, but two. Which would ordinarily be good news, but in this case, it's the post office vain, futile attempt to appease me for the fact that on the 4th of July they will not be delivering mail. They're trying to soften me up for when they take the day off to drink Jack Daniels underneath a bridge. I shall not be appeased. But at least I have boxes to show you. But first we'll start without the boxes. We'll end up with them. So what is this first one? Okay. All right. Wow, I didn't request this. This is great though. I have a feeling that this is going to appeal to a lot more of you than it does me. This is due in late October, and this is Hidden Sea. It's Gregory Maguire doing his Gregory Maguire thing about the Nutcracker. So I guess this will. I imagine this will have the gatefold cover when I get the finished copy. This is in this inventive novel rooted in the rich soil of early 19th century German Romanticism. Beloved author Gregory Maguire twins an origin legend of the famous Nutcracker with the life of Drosselmeyer, the toy maker who carves him. Yeah. So this is the wicked treatment for the Nutcracker. Let's see here. What is this next one? Ooh, it's an early copy of something. Oh, God help us. Come with a warning label. Okay, this comes out in September, and it is a bilingual edition called Unreconciled of the Complete Poetry of Michel Houellebecq. I will be skipping it. We at Open Letters we have a poetry person. I will simply send it on. Let's see next. We can't go anywhere but up from there. Okay, all right. I didn't request this either. This is mid-July. This is Equipment for Living on Poetry and Pop Music by Michael Robbins, who was born in Kansas during the Nixon administration. He's the author of the poetry collection Alien vs. Predator and the Second Sex. This is all. Is this poetry? No, it's not poetry. It's. Well, let's find out what it is. I don't really know. Someone was commenting. Actually, my guest John was commenting the other day that in addition to all the stuff I get, there's all the stuff that I request. There's all the stuff I don't request. Let's see here. Brilliant, illuminating criticism from a superstar poet. A refreshing, insightful look at how works of art, specifically poetry and popular music, can serve as essential tools for living. Okay. All right, so late July. Let's see what this next one is. Okay, again, this is not anything I even knew about, much less. Okay, so this comes out in November. It's called The Trials of a Scold. The Incredible True Story of Writer Anne Royal by Jeff Biggers. A well-researched and passionate biography of Anne Royal, one of America's first female muckrakers, who was convicted as a common scold in 1829 in one of the most bizarre trials in the nation's history. Anne Royal was an American original. Her tenacity earned her the first presidential interview ever granted to a woman. Fascinating. But she acquired enemies for her scathing denouncement of the increasingly blurry lines between church and state. Her pioneering role as a chronicler, publisher, muckraker, and social commentator brought to light the timeless issues that still define the great American experience, religion and politics. Okay. All right, I am on board. So this comes out in early November. The Trials of a Scold. All right, now we'll do box number 1. It's big. It's from Penguin, but it's very light. I'm guessing that it might be only one book. I don't know why they do that, but yes. Let's find out. I could be wrong. Could be more than one book. Let's see. Tons of bubble wrap. No, it's one book. And it's a kid's book that we've seen before. I think we've seen it before. This is Renato and the Lion by Barbara Di Lorenzo. This is the finished copy of a story about a boy who falls in love with a lion in Florence. Renato loves his home in Florence, Italy. He loves playing with his friends in the Piazza del Signoria. He loves walking home by the beautiful buildings and fountains with his father in the evenings. And especially loves a stone lion who seems to smile at him from the pedestal in the piazza. The lion makes him feel safe. But one day his father tells him that their family must leave. Their country is at war and they will be safer in America. Renato can only think of his lion. Who will keep him safe? With luminous watercolor paintings, Barbara Di Lorenzo captures the beauty of Florence. Okay, so I got an advanced copy of this, and I was charmed by the premise, but I confess I didn't actually look through it. So I'm glad to have the finished copy here, because I'll just relax with it. Don't know why it filled a whole box, but that's okay. Then we've got another box. It's much smaller and it's much heavier, so we'll see what this is. Could be a big, thick, finished copy of something. Which would be nice. Let's see. Nope. It's a paperback. It's a paperback. Comes out in mid-August. It's a paperback of a book that was, for a time, talked about everywhere. This is Capital by Thomas Piketty. Wow. So it's a big, beautiful paperback. It's a gigantic economics treatise. But once I saw that for some weird reason it was getting everybody's attention, this thing made the rounds, critically speaking, like the latest Jonathan Latham novel. I had no idea, I had no explanation for why that was true, and I still don't. But when I saw that, and then when Harvard sent me a copy, I actually read it. I actually read a 1,000-page book of economics. And it's not the only thing either. There was one just last year that I read that was really, really good. The Piketty, not so much. The Piketty, even knowing nothing about the subject, or only as much as I could glean while I was reading, I still got the impression that his book was long on hat and short on cattle, as we say in Texas. But this is the paperback, and it has blurbs from everybody under the sun. Yeah, look at the list of best books of the year that it got on. Look at the size of that thing. Hardly a single publication that didn't do it, and the blurbs inside are enormous. Good Lord. Okay, well, like I said, I don't have any real first-hand grounding in economic theory, so I knew that when I read the book, and but since I read it, I've read another 1,000-page book on capitalism, and a bunch of other stuff too. And it's not like I'd read nothing before that. I'd read Schumpeter, who's an economist who at least has the benefit of being a wonderful prose stylist. So I've read a lot of his stuff. So I'm actually going to reread this, is I guess what I'm trying to say, is that I'm going to reread this. I'm going to reread Piketty and see what I think. And that is it. That is our makeup mail haul. So we have Renato and the Lion. We have Capital by Thomas Piketty in paperback. Then we have The Trials of a Scold, which I admit I knew nothing about it when I opened it, but it's really piqued my curiosity. Then Equipment for Living, which kind of sort of hasn't. Then Unreconciled, which actively revolts me. And then Gregory Maguire. He's doing his Gregory Maguire thing, this time not about the Wicked Witch of the West, but about the Nutcracker. Which, again, will appeal to a huge audience, especially this thing's coming out right on the doorstep of Christmas. It will appeal to a huge audience that does not include me. I thought Wicked was really, really good. And I haven't felt that way about any of the books that followed. So I certainly didn't feel that way about the absolutely unsalvageable train wreck that is the musical. I say musical in heavy air quotes because there's not a single good piece of music anywhere in it from beginning to end. I saw a performance of it in New York, and at intermission, or no, when the show was over and everybody was done, at the end of a musical, back at the dawn of time, when I loved them and went to see them all the time, at the end of a musical, you're supposed to walk out of the house humming something from that musical. It's supposed to happen. It used to be, once upon a time, in the 1960s, for instance, or even in the late 1950s, it was a sign of a show's complete failure if you weren't doing that. And there were plenty where I walked out not even be able to remember what I'd just seen, much less how many things from it. With the show, when I left the show, there was this old couple that I'd been sitting next to, and we'd been rolling our eyes at each other the whole time. And when we walked out, the man started singing audibly but under his breath. He wasn't being rude. He started singing "Let's Call the Whole Thing Off." And the whole train ride back to where I was staying, that's what I sang. After having seen a multi-million-dollar musical. Anyway, so that's it. That's the compensatory mail haul for now. I was at the post office today and mailing out a ton of packages to you people all over the world. It was fantastic. And the guy at the counter looked at all the different addresses, all the different countries, and said, "Who are these people?" And I said, before I even could stop myself, I said, "They're my friends." And I realized I meant it. But the lady at the post office behind the counter today said that the mail is delivered on the 3rd of July, which is a weekday. The 4th of July falls on a Tuesday. The whole world will be drunk. The whole American world will be drunk. And there'll be no mail of any kind, no services at all. But she told me that the 3rd of July, the mail is delivered. Now, on the positive side, she's a postal employee. On the negative side, although she's as sweet as the day is long, she has the analytic ability of a cricket. So she may be wrong. I don't know. We'll find out. If I get mail on Monday, you'll be the first to know. In the meantime, I'm going to sign off. I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.